Hello and welcome. I'm Ciantier, and today I'm going to play some Guild Wars 1 because darn it, it's been too long. So specifically, I want to get this character further through the Eye of the North storyline. So I need to continue stuff here in Sparkfly Fen, or Sparkfly Swamp, I guess is the name in this game. Sparkfly Fen in the sequel. I definitely need to set up my character and stuff, but I figured that could be interesting to talk about. My current build, I think, was put together for fighting the doppelganger in Augury Rock, if I had to guess. So I'm just gonna like pull everything off and think about what I want to do. Let's start by just throwing some heroes in, though. Does anybody need levels? Does not look like it. I do have Haida, which is interesting. I have Anton. No, does not look like it. All right, let's go ahead and start by throwing on... So first of all, I want to determine if both of these guys are healers. They are. Okay, that's good. I often make one of them a smiter, and so I don't know. I didn't know if one of them might be smiter or not. So often I bring Signet of Spirits. Writ. Let's not do that. Let's do something interesting with Paragons. I don't know. I'm just feeling spicy. Maybe... Maybe something with... I'd like to bring Serenia along. And, about... Higher Fear Shot. Okay. I feel like doing something interesting. Do I want one of these guys to have... Reversal of Fortune or not? Probably not. You know what, let's give her, instead of Shield of Absorption, let's give her Reversal of Fortune. See how the AI handles that. Reversal of Fortune is an interesting spell. It's often been considered one of the stronger spells in the game, but I also feel that it is overrated for normal mode PvE, because the strength of this... So, for context, Orson of Healing, which on this character is right here. It's healing for 57 at 11 spec. It's very weak. It's considered basically trash and worthless, not worth running, unless you're using something like Healer's Boon. That makes it actually good. Reversal of Fortune. So this is healing for 57. Reversal of Fortune turns damage into healing, so you can think of the amount of damage that you would take as being doubled as healing, because you're not having to heal half of that damage and half of it, or like, you're not having to heal the damage that you take, and you're getting healed by the amount that it would be. So it's basically like the damage it prevents is healed for twice that, the amount of damage it prevents, is effectively how it works. So if this stops 58 damage, it effectively is healing for like 116. You can think of it as healing for that amount. However, if it stops like 15 damage, 30 damage, that's healing for 30 to 60 HP, which is about the same order as Orson of Healing. So, like, in normal mode, when you're going to be hit for those lower values a lot more often, it's not as good as Orson of Healing, and that's not a place you want to be. So, I'm going to try it, see how it feels, but honestly, I think it's a spell that's a lot more questionable in normal mode than a lot of people treat it as. Interesting. So, she's trying to do some of this stuff. I don't want that. So I'm just going to go whole into those things and then give her healing prayers for that. This is an interesting question. Do I want her to be anti-caster? Or... No, I think I actually want her in illusion magic. But... because illusion magic has a lot of stuff to punish attacking. Wandering Eye and Clumsiness, Signet of Clumsiness. These punish attacking, which is very, very useful. But you're also a little bit free with what you can do with your elite, because like this is kind of the core of that sort of build. I could run AK or AP. AK is accumulated knowledge. That's a magic card. I don't even know what I'm talking about, apparently. You're a little bit free in what you bring for your elite. I'm going to actually bring Psychic Instability and Power Return, I think. Actually, Remove Hex is a really good one to throw on here as well. This is just It's the fastest recharging non-elite hex spell, hex removal spell. And 5 energy is really, really nice. And actually, speaking of things that are nice, I think Mirror of Disenchantment. This is a ludicrously good enchantment removal. It removes it from the entire foe's party of that same enchantment, which you often get in PvE mobs. And it's only 5 energy, and it's guaranteed removal. Like Lys's Balance. See, target foe loses 1 enchantment. If you have more enchantments than that foe, this skill has no effect, right? This is just strictly worse than Mirror of Disenchantment. Neither of them, so they both have the same stats of 5 energy, 1 second cast time, 15-second recharge, but this one might work and it might not work. This one always works and might remove more. So like Mirror of Disenchantment has the exact same stats, also requires no attribute, but does more, so it's just better. So it's very questionable why anyone would bring Lys's Balance over Mirror of Disenchantment, at least how they work in PvE. So what I think I want to do, okay, so this General Morgan is set up to kind of do Healy protection-y stuff. I actually think I want to set him in Ritualist territory. Okay, so Anthem of Envy, I understand why that's there, but I don't really want that. Let's think about... Do I want... Yeah, okay, let's run this command stuff. But let's run channeling magic here. Because I want... This is a weak splinter weapon. It's going to be a weak Signet of Spirits as well. So if I wanted more of that, I would have to drop the command. So let's drop command to pump this up to a better level. Yeah, that's a lot better. Go for the Eyes is still worth running, just because this is not for the increased crit bonus. This gains him 5 energy when he uses it. That's what this says. Just because that's how this works. Blood Song is good. So I'm basically splitting up some of the functionality that I would normally put on one guy, one ritualist among these two, but that just is a bit more interesting to me to do. So I actually, I'm feeling like running Wild Throw. This is an anti-stance skill, and those are nice to have floating around your party. Maybe Merciless Spear, because that's a way to get some deep wound out with there, which is very handy. Okay, so she's doing some high-end protection prayers. That's interesting. Let's keep having her do that. Spirit Bond is really strong. Let's give her Shield Guardian, but for her elite instead of Shield of Deflection, which is quite potent. Let's try giving her... Life Sheath is good. Can I get her stats high enough that Life Sheath does a double? I'm not sure. Okay, so that requires literally 12. But you know what? I kind of want to try that and see how that goes. There's no point in having 18 leadership or having 9 leadership because notice that it's for you gain 2 energy for each. So maximum energy is increased for every 1 or for every 2 ranks. So having 9 has literally no benefit. So I might as well put it in the Spear Mastery and Command. Having Hexbreaker Area is actually really nice because that allows our party to get rid of hexes just in general. We Shall Return is a very strong rest spell. Yeah, okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so you're doing Pyromancy. Now, despite having Paragons, I'm not putting run buffs on them. I'll figure out what I'm doing later. I actually kind of... Okay, I like having We Shall Return there, but I think... No, not that. I think instead of fire magic, I want to do water magic. So one of the things about elementalists is that they sort of drop off as you get later into the game in terms of damage, and this is just a byproduct of how the game works, right? The game is set up such that elemental damage. So basically, the way the armor system in this game works is, I'm going to try to say this while looking for my spells, so it might be a little rough, but the way the armor system in this game works is 60 armor is taking flat damage. So like if something has 60 armor against cold damage and they take this shard storm, they'll take 70 damage. That's how it works. It's an exponential it's an exponential curve to basically think of the armor as going, the more armor, the lower the exponent. So it's like 60 minus armor level over 40 or something like that. For those who couldn't follow, basically the math is every 40 armor. So 60 is a 1 times multiplier on damage. 60 armor is 1 times multiplier. So you take however much damage it would deal, that's how much you take. Every 40 armor halves or doubles damage. So if you go down to 20, you take double damage. If you go up to 100, you'll take half damage. And 140 would be a quarter damage. So that's how armor works in this game. But a lot of skills, so for example, if we look over here on Pyro Fear Shot, this +7, so this volley right here will deal some damage roll based on his weapon. Bows are like 15 to 28, so it'll deal that, probably piercing damage. So against their piercing armor. And then the +7 damage is added on top of that. So it's a post-armor damage calculation, which means it goes through armor. So it doesn't get increased for low armor, for armor below 60, but it does more damage relative against foes with armor above 60. And so what you see with a profession like the Mesmer right here, see this 94 damage? This is armor ignoring. It does not respect armor. It just deals 94 damage. Whereas right here, if I go to Deep Freeze, this 70 damage cares about armor because it's cold damage. So this will be reduced by armor. And so what ends up happening is a lot of the elemental stuff deals less damage than is printed on the tin because almost everything has at least 60 armor or more. And a lot of things have more than 60 armor. It's basically, it's not impossible to have less than 60 armor, but if you're running sort of like where you should be, like as a player character, your minimum armor is 60. And so a lot of the enemies, most of the enemies in the game have 60 or more armor. As you get later in the game, the more armor ramps up. So stuff that doesn't care about armor, that goes through it, that's armor ignoring, like Mesmer, a lot of necromancer damage, weapon plus damage, that all becomes very valuable against armor and for dealing damage because it doesn't care about armor. So what you end up running into is a situation where enemies are, and this is a very defensive build that I have going on here, so I definitely want to make sure me and Pyre are very offensive. But what you end up running into is a situation as an elementalist is your damage just falls off more and more and more the later in the game you go. So early game, you're sitting high and pretty, like really early in the game, because enemy armor is lower. And that means, okay, this is interesting, but let's not make you defensive. So because enemy damage is relatively speaking lower, or enemy armor is below 60 in the early game, elementalists will deal more damage than they're rated for. But that is it's a property that just goes away as you get later in the game. So unfortunately, they have a pretty severe detriment that way. Maybe just it's just Pain and Shadow Song good enough here? I could bring Wanderlust. That would be interesting. Let's do that. That sounds fun. And then Body Shot is probably going to be something that I can make useful. Okay, so what I want to do, let's see, this, yeah, I want to do Ore Slicer. Actually, there's a lot of enemies that don't care about that. So what I should do is I should definitely bring something that inflicts cracked armor, though. So that way I can enable him to gain energy. For 5 seconds. You cast an enchantment. This used to be like when you hit with an attack, it would blind them if it was earth damage, and it was ludicrously overpowered. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Yes, that's what I want. And then do I want Mystic Sandstorm? Probably not. A lot of these are meant to be kept on, but I think Dust Cloak and that are not. So I think I might do those. You are immune to disease. Inflict disease on all adjacent foes for 3 seconds whenever you lose a Dwarf enchantment. Okay, let's go Avatar of Grenthing. I like to... So this is a quirk of my own. I like to put my increased attack speed skills in this slot. The reason why I'm not bringing Ore Slicer is because we're going to be fighting a lot of undead, so that makes it less reliable. Where's Twin Moon Sweep is good, and... Well... let's see. Do an additional bit of damage, etc. Okay, that seems like useful for what I'm trying to do. And I think there's... Yeah, that's pretty good. There's also this one. Well, nearby foes are set on fire for 3 seconds. Yeah. Okay, let's bring these. I'm not sure how things will be for me energy-wise. But this is probably fine. Do I have a different scythe that I want to wield? These are glacial stones. Yes, I need a bunch of those. So I want to get this character some fancy armor, and that's going to require a bunch of gunnery. Okay, no, that's specifically an earth one. Alright, this is probably fine. Alrighty, so after 15, 18 minutes, however long that ends up being, I have completed what my party is going to do, and it may or may not work well. But, you know, that's what I love about this game. I love the build craft and figuring out what I'm going to do and all that sort of stuff. Okay, let's go talk to this guy. Yes, I know you're busy. So, Mirror of Disenchantment's really particularly effective for dealing with raptors that use a rather obnoxious skill that gives them 75% chance to block, which is very good against our party. Okay, I want to keep an eye on my Avatar of Granth. Yeah, like right now I think he's got it on. But if he keeps running around like this, he's not going to get any critical hits. Oh. Well, when Talcora's running away, he's going to. Because that's just how that skill works. The nice thing about Avatar of Grenth is it gives me lifesteal. Yay. You can see those additional 10s popping up from my hits. I am stealing health from the enemy. I'm going to turn my volume down a little bit. That's not going to affect what you're hearing, but it's going to affect what I'm hearing. And it was feeling loud to me, which is making me want to talk louder than I needed to. Actually, I should probably take out this group too. Yeah, critical defenses is the skill. This is unblockable though. Yeah, unblockable. The game used to have both unblockable and block and evasion, so you could evade things that were unblockable, and you could block things that couldn't be evaded. That was later changed. Yeah. I agree with the change. It simplified the game. There was some play around certain skills, and like Sun and Moon Slash originally was attack twice. The first one can't be blocked, and the second one can't be evaded, or something like that, which is really cute design, but fundamentally unimportant. So they a thing ended on me. So anyway, the change to get rid of evasion, like, yeah, it simplified the game, but the game is already really, really complex. It's like Magic removing mana burn or something, where it's like, this is a lot of complexity. It's not quite that. It mattered more than mana burn does, but it's that same sort of thing where it doesn't matter. Or like consolidating it simplifies things in a way that is fine. If you care about the lore here, you can watch when I did this in VOD of Consciousness. I'm just kind of playing and doing my own thing, so that's how it's going to go. Yep. I love the music in this game. Although, Nightfall is definitely the one that I'm least attached to. I love Prophecies and Factions the most. I guess I might just cut until I'm fighting that thing I'm supposed to fight. Oh, I'm gonna cut back in here because we're getting attacked by a Moblin. Yeah, this is a volatile situation. Oh, yep. We're probably party wiping here. My party isn't the strongest. I'll be the first to admit that. And receiving what I like to call baggro, short for back aggro, can be really, really devastating in circumstances like this where your team is perhaps a little questionable in its composition. But we're not terribly far. The Resurrection Shrine is conveniently right there. Now I have to wait for my Avatar of Grenth to return. Fortunately, Livia and Gadd are not targeted by the enemies. I think I might try to take Moblin, Lord of the Marsh, and his squad down, though. Good. So some spells in this game are very understated in their effect, and one of them is Maelstrom, which is an area of effect spell that interrupts spells when it deals damage, which is very useful, as you might imagine. And it was just go, or I just saw it land. Like I said, the effect is extremely subtle on it, so it's hard to see. But yeah, it's very good. General Morgan actually has a very low energy burden. I potentially could have gotten away with giving him some more energy using skills. I should reapply Avatar of Growth. Gwen has a very high energy burden. In contrast, she needs a lot of energy to operate. I'm doing fine on energy. It may have been prudent to make one of my characters at least have Blood as power. That would facilitate things. The lifesteal basically adds 10 damage to my... oh, that's nice. Adds 10 damage to my attacks. 10 armor ignoring damage on top of it. So that's really, really nice. Plus I'm adding a lot of condition damage with the disease. The 3 seconds of disease that this inflicts is equivalent to 24 damage, I believe. Minimum. Because that would be 4 pips of health degen, which is 8 HP per second. So for 3 seconds, that would be 24. But disease can spread among like-type enemies, so... or like-type creatures, excuse me. So that enhances the effect, shall we say. Okay, well, I will go ahead and fight these guys down. I guess cut out a little bit until I come back to those guys. Okay, as we come up on this subscribe button here, I'm definitely seeing some things that I'd want to do a little bit differently with my party, theoretically. First of all, for myself, I'd probably drop Radiant Scythe for another skill that can... probably Pious Strike? An energy-based skill to consume my enchantments. But I definitely want another one. My party also would benefit greatly by having a different character to do what I'd refer to as HP bar pushing. So right now, just the monks have skills that make HP bars go up. Primarily Healing Burst, also Duena's Kiss. Patient Spirit does it. This helps a bit. Vigor Spirit does. It's not a big pusher, but Divine Healing or Heaven's Delight, it's the exact same skill. They just have different specs to make it heal a different amount. But that pushes HP bars up, Sign of Rejuvenation. But they have a bunch of skills to push HP bars back up. These do not push HP bars up. And technically, Mist Form kind of does. And Swirling Aura kind of does, but... I can definitely put out a lot of short bursts of health degeneration, though, that's for sure. Dervishes are very powerful DPS machines. And they have a lot of different ways that they can be built. Let's see, that's cracked armor. Yeah. Cracked armor reduces armor by 20, but not below 60, so it's kind of awkward. What's really interesting, actually, is there's a Necromancer skill that inflicts cracked armor. It's weaken armor, I think. And as I understand it, anyway, so it didn't used to apply cracked armor. Cracked armor is a new condition added to the game to try to make things like warriors and stuff a bit less tanky. For, you know, whatever argument you want to have. Let's try to avoid the Setadon. Those things are pains in the rear end. But anyway, so cracked armor was added for that reason. Weaken armor used to be a hex rather than apply the condition, and I believe the hex did the same thing. It reduced armor by 20. I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time. That change was made many, many, many years ago. But the originally the hex, I believe, could lower armor below 60. So it's a very big change to it, and I understand why they did it. It was to get cracked armor around for synergies with cracked armor, but it would have been nice if they had, they being ArenaNet, had done things a little bit differently, just in terms of maintaining that that functionality. Where's okay, so here's Livia, here's Gadd. Wait, what am I waiting on? Yeah, I'm at the entrance. Oh, I needed to walk far enough to drag the NPCs closer.
I'm busy.
Yeah, he's gonna insult our intelligence and do some random stuff. I don't know how effective Pyre's build is. Well, for now, I don't need to keep these open, so I'm going to go ahead and close them. I was keeping them open to look at energy. So the question is, do I want to go ahead and do this mission now, or do I want to go tweak builds? There's arguments to doing both. Entering now would just be quicker. You know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and go back to Gadd's encampment, because I can just come back to this and examine it and use it. Let's go back to Gadd's encampment. I want to clear out my inventory. There's a Shunlight chest. Also, if you want to know the story, you can play the game yourself. It is available as a thing you can buy. And I think it's a great game and highly recommend it. Okay, so that's one of the ones I already had. So there's 4 pieces, and I'm apparently a little extra on some of them. I really want to begin getting this character her armor that I want her to have, though. So some of it is going to be easier than others to get. Okay, so I was observing. Let's get rid of these and buy myself another ID kit. If you're wondering, by the way, why is identifying like just stuff that didn't ID to have anything, it's because the value of it usually goes up by more than 2 gold, and that's all an ID is. An ID charge 4 gold, whatever. It's worth 4 gold, and it usually goes up by more than that. So it's you usually gain money by identifying things, even if they are just now, do I want this? I think I want this. But even if they are the word I'm looking for is, yeah, even if they are white, which means that they don't have whatever, then it's still usually worth it. So I can tweak her. Life Sheath is helping with some stuff. This is technically helping. What I think I'm going to do, actually, though, is I think I'm going to kick Strenia in favor of Elias. Yeah, you're doing an MM. You're not going to do MM anymore. I'm going to actually set you to Rit. And I think it makes... Let's look. Well, you're not going to be that high in Death Magic, and I'm probably not going to run you into Curses either. You are going to run Restoration. And I think Blood. Let's see here. So this is target foe knowledge and foes are hexed with Bloodbond. Whenever an ally hits one of them with an attack, that ally gains 7 health. Okay, so this is worth bringing. I think I'm going to go... okay, let's do a build like this. So there's some really good HP pushers in the Ritualist line of Restoration Magic. So Men, Body, and Soul is really, really good, especially with the build I've got going. My goodness, it's going to be removing all of the conditions, and that's going to be pretty spectacular. I don't know if that affects ally spirits or not. Where is... Here it is. And Spirit Light is a very strong heal as well. So these together are like the Ritualist's HP bar pushing package, but it's a very strong package. I might bring Spirit Transfer as well, because that is 38 health from Spirit, so that's like 190 HP. Is that right? 38. Yeah. That's a really strong heal as well. And we're going to have a lot of spirits for him to draw from. Let's bring Bip for his elite. Bip being Blood is Power. Of course. Blood of the Aggressor. Is that... Do I want that? Yeah, I want him to have some offensive capabilities. This is... I guess... This could be good. I'm going to be inflicting a lot of conditions, so yeah, that's probably fine. Okay, and then whenever an ally hits a foe hexed with Blood Bond, they gain 15 health. And when one of those foes dies, all allies adjacent to it are healed. That is principally going to help me, but that ostensibly helps anyone if the enemies are all kind of bunched up. Okay, so this should address some of the concerns that I had. I do want to continue running Avatar of Grenth. Now, because we are fighting undead, there's an argument for using either Avatar of Balthazar, which makes your attacks deal holy damage, or Duena, which also makes your attacks deal holy damage, because holy damage is doubled against undead. I kind of want to keep doing what I'm doing with Grenth, though, and I'm not going to worry about trying to get that particular benefit, shall we say. So let's go over there. I will see you actually inside the mission. So, okay, we are now in the mission doing this quest. And just on the way over here, I did a few fights just to test out how things are going. You can see that I have everything up again. Overall, it looks like stuff is doing pretty well. Let's see. There are more inscribed creatures ahead. Yeah, he's just giving us a sense of where it is. Or he will anyway. Definitely... Overall, the team feels a lot stronger with Elias instead of Serenia. Just a side effect of how strong Necromancers are relative to Elementalists. Elementalist is... I wouldn't say it's the weakest class, but it's contending for it. Mesmer is probably the strongest class. Mesmer, Ritualist, Necromancer are all very strong. Dervish is very strong. There's definitely been some lack of good balance, shall we say, at certain parts. One of the things that is coming up as an issue, actually, though, is that AI doesn't see Life Sheath or Men, Body, and Soul as principally condition removal spells, even though, in my mind, they are. And they see them in a different way. So the AI is not as quick to use them to cleanse me of conditions as it should. But that's how it is, I guess. Energy does seem to be a lot better, though. And we seem to be a lot more resilient with Elias, who, being a Necromancer has built-in energy management, but also Blood is Power, allowing him to potentially fuel up some of the other party members. Also, in terms of my own bar, it's not a huge deal, but I would definitely prefer... They're going to drop down back. These enemies drop back down after a moment. I would definitely prefer to be running an Adrenaline skill over Ermites. My energy is definitely a little bit tighter. Oh, there's the Inscribed Sentry down there. My energy is a little bit tighter than I would ideally like. It's not a huge deal, though, and I can certainly play around it. So, just coming up on this guy here. You're going to see that immune to disease thing pop up quite a bit, just because of... I mean, these enemies are mostly immune to disease, so... I'm inflicting disease. So Gadd has to get the inscription, and then we head for the door. I notice Elias using Blood is Power. You might be able to catch it better than I. I'm going to be principally focused on the gameplay. Blood is Power is very, very strong, but it has a 33% health sacrifice, which compensates for it. But plus 5 energy regen for 10 seconds is pretty potent. They'll be back. These enemies are really annoying. It's unfortunately a design pattern that you see pop up in Guild Wars 2 as well. Enemies that go into an invulnerable state, and then you just have to kind of wait there for them to become vulnerable again. It's annoying. Okay. Today was so much talking about build stuff that I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. I was thinking of doing like more, like potentially trying to finish out the Asuras stuff, or at least do Ula's Lair, but that might be a bit much for one episode. Guess we'll see. This area is a bit obnoxious, but yeah, this one recharges fast enough that I don't necessarily feel like I need Ermites as well. Do any of my allies have Blood is Power on them? Yes, Gwen did. So Blood is Power. 5 energy regen translates into 1.6 energy per second. So that's going to restore roughly 16 energy to the ally over its duration. More if he has an enchanting... No, he does not. I didn't think so. I use a lot of the default stuff on these characters, so... no enchanting for them. Ooh, I have an Iridescent Aegis, though. This is actually really solid. Okay, I might cut out some of this dungeon, because this part is going to be a little bit long. It's just going to be a lot of fighting. I don't know. How much do people who watch this want to see me track through all of the fights versus wanting to see something else? Curious to know. So if you're somebody watching this and you've watched this far, you're certainly interested. So let me know how much you want to see battles against all of the enemies and see how all that plays out, or what would be most interesting to you as Guild Wars content. I'm thinking of streaming it, actually. Potentially on Tuesdays, but we'll see. I guess to some extent it's a question of what is the focus of what I'm trying to do. The focus is definitely just like, get through the content, get further on this character. That's what I'm trying to accomplish anyway. This is an interesting question. Actually, I'm going the wrong way. I should be going over towards this direction. Okay, apparently that water is not waitable. These guys. What would I... This might be good. That's not what I'm trying to do. That works really well in a fragility build. Trying to get stuff going is in that regard. Land, you coward. Oh man. Shadow Song's great. I don't use communing enough just because channeling Signet of Spirits is so much better than anything in communing that I like never use it. Running sweep might be worth. Yeah, interesting. A lot of them that use enchantments are not. Huh. Like there's Mystic Sweep. But that's if you are enchanted, it doesn't remove one. It might have been good actually to go to just Pious Fury and put on just some random something else. Crippling Victory maybe. Interesting to think about. I love the build craft in this game though, and I love trying to think through and figure out what they are, how they work, how they could work. I do think the principles of how Guild Wars 1 works could translate into a really fun tactics game. Something that I want to do at some point in time. I am just going completely the wrong way at every turn in this dungeon, aren't I? In my defense, it has been a while. But it hasn't been that long, has it? It's really funny how Gadd is like, we're closer to the creature. And it's like, yes, there is only this path forward. So definitionally, yes. Oh, Gadd. He's silly. Oh, this part can be really fun if you have a lot of holy damage, because these guys tend to frenzy. Unlike Guild Wars 2, this game does not have a target cap. So, you can get lots of numbers, lots of very big numbers, and it is very fun and very satisfying. Yeah, it might have been better to go Pious Fury and something rather than try to go the way I have. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter that much. This part is a little weird. So, see all these allied skeletons? They will unally when we aggro the skeleton stuff, and then they like all just vanish when this guy is taken out. I don't know. And like as we approach in range, then they ally with us. It's very, very strange. But this area is a spot where because of that, you can get very overwhelmed very quickly if you're not careful. Yeah, I need to move. That damage marker was for Eruption, which blinds and every pulse, so you don't want to stand in it. Now, this guy is actually a bigger priority. than any of the skeletons. Because when C goes down, all of the skeletons despawn, as you notice. So... I had been playing for 1 hour. Some amount of that was setting up. For example, getting myself to the outpost I wanted to be at. I did not show you that. I didn't think it was necessary. And we got these skelk crawling out of the woodwork. Bribed power. Yeah, so there's a bloodstone down here. Right over there, in fact. That is a bloodstone. They're kind of a big deal. Ha! Rotting flesh is really funny. I'm immune to rotting flesh because of Avatar of Grenth. All it does is it inflicts disease on target creature. For quite a long time, to be fair. So it is quite powerful in that regard, but... the fact that I am Avatar of Grenth up means that I am immune to it, so it is fairly non-threatening to me personally, anyway. This part can be really rough. All of these enchanted shields really block things a lot from the boss up there, and the enchanted scythes can be kind of nasty. The enchanted scythes, just like the previous area, the enchanted scythes don't become aggroable until you kind of go in there. So, yeah, you want to be careful. It's important to take out these scythes, is what I'm saying. These enchanted shields are just annoying. They block for the boss. The way that they block for the boss is they have a stance that blocks for adjacent allies. With them down, though, this guy's going down very quickly. Hooray! We win. I don't care. If you care, again, buy the game. Okay, so that recruits Gadd. So now I need to go get Ula's help, which is a little, which is lab space, which requires me to meet Blim. But given that this recording is as long as it is, Ring of Fire Island Chain. See, I've beaten Hell's Precipice. I think I'm going to tweak my bar slightly. Overall, I like what my build is doing. However, well, this may not be good later, but nearby foes take some holy damage for you have -1. Yeah, okay, that's nice. But I think that's what I want to stick with for the time being. But I think I want Pious Fury. And then instead of Hermione's attack, I might just go with yeah, I want to go with an adrenaline-based one. Rape Impurities is interesting. I think I might try it. See how it feels. Okay, do I want to do... Well, either way, I'm going to clear out my inventory. Yeah, I think this is probably fine for an episode. let me know. Let me know what you want from Guild Wars episodes, because I'm definitely going to be doing plenty of them in the future. Again, it's a game that I love. I want to come back to it again and again and again. So let me know what you'd want from a Guild Wars episode. That would be very helpful. Now, I need to go talk to a merchant. But I guess I don't need to bore you with that Where even is a merchant? Oh, over here. Warg. Oh, I guess. We'll go with it. But yeah, once I sell stuff, I also need a stack of destroyer cores. That's going to take a while. Because I want to sell you this crap. Thank you. Oh, 381 there, 381 there. That's cool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode here. And deselect the Asura so its nameplate isn't in my face. Until next time, everyone. Feedback on what you'd want from Guild Wars episodes is appreciated. And take care. Goodbye.